Today I'm going to show you how to use an Apimelter. Hello, I'm Griff Fritz, welcome to Winning Griffith. Here we talk everything beekeeping, farming, countryside living, and we do reviews as well. Now we are in the honey house following our mini series of how my extracting equipment works, and today we are doing the Apimelter. Now a lot of you guys have been interested in the Apimelter, and it's not Happy Melter, it's Apimelter. I know my accent is really strong, but I'll put everything in the description of this video if you struggle to understand how I say things. But anyway, this is one of two Apimelters that I've got. This is the one we're actually running today. This is a Carls Fritz mini Apimelter. I bought this, it must be 6-7 years ago. I've had no problems with it, and this would pay for itself in the first year. So, and the way that happens is basically, you fill that up with cappings. You can see now it's full to the brim. And you'll be amazed at how much more honey will come out of that cappings that you can sell and make money. Where if you were to throw that in, I don't know, some kind of steam melter or something, all that honey is going to go to waste. Now, when I started beekeeping, that's what I used to do. But when I bought this Apimelter, I actually saw this very one with a bee farmer that I talk a lot about over the years on this channel. A guy called Ricky Wilson. Unfortunately, he's not with us anymore. And I saw his Apimelter for the first time, this exact one. And he said, Griff, that will pay for itself in the first year. Bought it on his recommendation, and it has been a fantastic purchase. Basically, the honey in that cappings, I'm going to get something like 98-99% of the honey out of the wax. So, you know, you're not losing any product in the beekeeping process. And that's the small one, and then this one is the big one. So this, you'll see me put on the small one, but this Apimelter is the big one. And you can see I've got some crystallized frames, etc. in there. And that's what I use the big one for. I tend to put crystallized frames, etc. in there, and I melt that out in that Apimelter. Now, there's a lot of people, they say that you can't use an Apimelter and sell the honey, that honey has been cooked and it's no good to eat. Well, Carls Fritz, the manufacturer of the small Apimelter, says you can, and Swienty, the manufacturer of this extractor, says you can as well. And I know lots of bee farmers, when they go to the oilseed rape, instead of spinning the honey out, they put it all in the wax melter, melt it out, put new wax in the frames, and back out to go. So it is a well-known extracting process used in the Apimelter. Now, I personally wouldn't extract only using the Apimelter. I like spinning the honey out. But, you know, I think any kind of bee farm operation needs to have 1 or 2 Apimelters. It's just the amount of stuff you can do with it. I mean, I can decrystallize buckets in this Apimelter. I can decrystallize jars in this Apimelter. I can filter wax and melt wax in this Apimelter. There's so much stuff you can do on a honey farm using these Apimelters. It is a multi-purpose tool. But in a future video, what I'm going to do at the end of this video, you'll see the honey coming out of this Apimelter. I'm going to put that honey aside. The sump is actually empty. I'm going to run the honey through the sump, filter it into the bucket, mark it, and we'll send that honey off to get analysis back on it from Minerva, and we can look at the description of what the honey would say. It's the HMF you got to watch. So, you know, I'm not saying you can't damage your honey in these Apimelters. You can. And in this video, I'm going to show you tips on how not to do that. So, you know, just to note, you can damage honey by overheating it. By using these correctly, you're not going to overheat the honey. That's the way these machines are designed for. But yeah, I think that'll be an interesting video, because some of you may not believe me that all the manufacturers that this honey is good enough to sell. We'll send the honey off to get analysis on it, and we'll share that in a separate video. But yeah, basically that is the Apimelter. How it works is simple. So, actually I haven't explained how it works. So how it works, we put the heated element on top of this now. That heats the whole tank up. Now what happens is the honey melts first, or becomes very viscous first. That runs down to the bottom. The heat remains at the top. Now honey has got the honey runs way before the wax does, so the honey drains out of it and then the wax melts after. Now by the time this tank gets really hot, the honey is at the bottom and then you've got a protective layer of wax over the top of it, so the heat doesn't actually hit the honey. And I'll prove that in this video. So when this machine is going, I won't be able to put my hand up there or there, but down there I'll be able to hold my hand there for as long as I need to, because the heat doesn't reach it. So this is a simple one. If you're a small commercial bee farm or thinking of going into commercial beekeeping, this is probably one that I would recommend as a first. They're not that much money considering what you can do with it. And then a bigger honey farm, then of course you need a bigger Apimelter like this. Fair bit more money, but they both work the same way. This one has got a heat on the top and the bottom, so there is a different way of using it. This one is simple. You just turn the heat up to the top and just leave it run. Now what I tend to do, I come back every few hours and I drain the tap. So instead of leaving the honey in there till the cycle's finished, I take the honey out of there constantly, and I find that works out much better for me, because you're just lowering the level again, taking it away from the heat. So we'll put this on and we'll see how it goes. First thing, take this out. The lid goes straight on top. Then we've got a metal band. Click that on. Now that is running. You can see you've got the thermostat here, so that is actually on 110. That's what Carls Fritz recommends you set this as the small unit. Now this is not insulated, so you are going to lose a lot of heat from the outside. So I think that's why that is set at so high. It actually doesn't reach that temperature down in the bottom. Now if you go to the bigger wax Apimelter, this one, you can see it much better now. This one you set differently, so they recommend you set the top at 80 and the bottom at 40, but I found it works just as good if you set the top at 70 and the bottom at 30. So that's how I run this. I find that works out just as good, and of course you're using a lot less heat. So that's how you use this one for melting the cappings, and this one slightly different. But yeah, the honey is not going to go anywhere near that kind of temperature. It's just what you set the thermostat on. Right, we'll come back in a bit and drain the honey out of this. Now it is important, the manufacturer does state do not leave this running unattended, because people's honey houses has gone up in flames in the past. Now I don't know whether that was a Swienty Api Melter or a Carls Fritz or a different manufacturer. That's all I'm saying is that does and can happen. So be very wary of using these. You are using something electric and a heat element to it, so take safety precautions. Do not leave this on and jump in the car and go shopping for the day. You know, you got to be around when this thing's on. Right, it's been a while, so we'll start draining the honey out the tank. Red hot, colder, super cold. So the heat again is not down there. Can't emphasize that enough. Look at the colour of that honey. Exactly the same. If something, the honey from the extractor is actually darker than the honey coming out of there now. But by the time I come back and forth here, this bucket will be full and maybe there'll be another bucket half full. We'll see how heavy that cappings was. There, this is what you do. Come down, drain it, and then turn the tap off, otherwise the wax will drain out. We want to keep the wax in the tank to protect the honey. Right, this has been running for a couple of hours now. We've been draining the honey. You can see honey is the same colour, and check on the sump, you can see how dark the honey is. Still on hawthorn honey, seems to be the majority of the crop this year. Very, well, say very dark, much darker honey than what we're normally used to. But I'll take that any day of the week because the honey does taste delicious. Right, so we're going to turn that off. Let's have a look. Let's put this down. Now you be very careful where you put the lid, because that is hot. And that is all you're left with. Now basically, I got to work quick. Got my bucket of Apimelter waste. And when this is still running, we scoop all this up into a bucket. There's no value in this. You could pour this into some kind of good cardboard container. Because this stuff is hot, it will leak through. So I haven't worked out the best container or whatever to scrape that into. It's a shame to put that into a plastic bucket, but that's what I'm using at the minute. Just wet towel. Back into scraping it. Then electric blower. Now that cleans the mesh, because what had happened to me before when I first bought this, I'd scraped all that clean. Unbeknown to me, that black crud, you imagine if you're plastering, what I essentially did was I plastered the mesh, so I sealed it. So when the cappings went in the next time, it couldn't drain out because I'd sealed it. Now, you gotta make sure that that mesh is clean every time, because then this machine can damage your honey. If that is clean, it's not going to. So you gotta make sure every time you empty this, you've gotta do that cleaning method, scrape it clean, blow that through so that mesh is like new again. Now, there's not much I can do now. We gotta wait for the wax in there to totally go hard. So I'll come back tomorrow when that's fully hard, and we'll pick up the video then. Okay, it's the day after. Everything's cooled down. And there we have some first stage Cappings wax. Now, you've probably seen what that looks like. If you watch my other videos, we'll go and break a bit of that off for you guys to see. So we're basically left with little bits like that. That's good. Let that drain out. take all the wax out, and then that is ready to be processed into better or cleaner beeswax into blocks that you can use for candles, exchange for foundation, etc. That is basically, doesn't look it now, but once I refine that later on, which you see in my other videos how I do, that'll be perfect grade A beeswax straight from Cappings Wax. And that is it. That's a quick video explaining how an Api Melter works. Now, I know a lot of people, they'll say, well, you can't sell the honey from an Api Melter. These manufacturers, they argue otherwise. And like I mentioned, I know a lot of beekeepers, a lot of bee farmers that use Api Melters heavily within their business. And you know, I've tested this honey before, and to see if the honey is damaged and you can't sell it. The tests I've done, they've come back good. But this again is there'll be another part of this video where we send this honey off to get tested, and we'll compare the analysis of that compared to something that hasn't come out the Api Melter. And yeah, follow that video will be going up. I'll probably send the honey off in the next 2 weeks, and we'll get that back in a couple of weeks, and we'll share that with this video. There'll be a standalone video of talking about that. And you know, when you think these manufacturers, Swienty, Carl Fritz, Thomas do a similar one, these are multi-million-pound businesses in a food industry which is well established. You know, this Api Melter here, you're talking best part of £4 is going to go buying one of these. This one here, best part of £1,000 is going to go. So you know, the two systems here, a combined value of over £5,000 if you were to buy this. Now, this isn't a small, cheap bit of equipment. It is engineered and constructed and tested before it hits the market, you know, by big multi-million-pound companies, which they manufacture machinery for the food industry. So, you know, buy these with confidence. And we actually sell these two machines as well. So if anybody wanted a price on a big Swienty Api Melter or a smaller Carl Fritz one, drop us a message. We can get you a price. Well, that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And don't forget, if you like this video and you want to watch more of the same kind of content, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I try my best to upload this every week. Thanks for watching.